Uh, Present now. Window, that one. Okay, so hopefully fairly soon you'll be seeing the um, uh, Google Classroom page, um, and we'll go through there. Okay, you guys doing okay? Good weekend? Were you able to recover the miserable Vikings game that hit you guys pretty hard? Dia, I can see you still look sad. Yeah. Semhar's so hit hard by it, she had to turn her camera off as soon as we started talking football. Couldn't take it. That's okay. I understand. Okay. Excuse me. So let's see. Um, whoop, is it? Are you guys? Did you see me change screens or no? You now see like Monday a live class today. That okay? Thanks. I appreciate the help there. Sometimes I change and it doesn't. It's not showing me what I'm showing right now. So okay, so live class today. We've got that stuff rolling. So as a bit of a status update or check, hopefully we've got the 1 and 2 supplementary problems in for electric circuit stuff that uh, really should have been in like before we took the quiz on that stuff. And your electric circuit section 3 warm up should have been turned in. That should have been one of the things that you did before we started doing electric circuit section 3. And hopefully we're done with electric circuit sections 3.1 to ballparkish 3.6, 3.7 in there. Um, so if we're throwing supposed to be throwing 90 minutes a day at this stuff, um, we started section 3 last Tuesday, so 90 minutes a day for Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. We should be somewhere in there now. It'd be great if we were ready for this stuff here, ready for the end of section 3 checkpoints and the section 3 review sheet. There's no warm up for section 4, so when you get to section 4, you don't need to worry about a warm up sheet for that, as there was for section 2 and section 3. Conferences, I haven't sent anything out to your folks just yet. I hope to do that today. 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. the Tuesday and Wednesday after break. I was going to do them this week, but we're actually getting Windows installed, and I thought it would be best to not have that many things pushing me towards swearing. So, I got to keep things level. So there's a link in the lesson plan, and I'll send that stuff out to your folks for the Tuesday and Wednesday after we get back from break. I'm hoping we can go through some checkpoints for section 3 today. And then the rest of Monday, I put some stuff down here to kind of guide us through where we should be. I checked with the school a little bit on some things. I had a couple of thoughts. Things I was hoping we could do to kind of reduce the pace of some of this stuff a little bit, because to me it feels like uh, we're experiencing a bit of challenge staying on pace with where we're at. And when I contacted the high school, I didn't. The people that I spoke with weren't really flexible. So we're going to have to still kind of work within the timeline that we've got. But what I'm uh, planning to do is find things that we can abbreviate in future units. So I'm going to slow this pace down a little bit. So because if we were to stay on pace with the initial layout, we'd have to be testing on like Friday this week, and I think that's just way too fast for where we're at. We have to make sure we're at a decent spot. So the schedule that we have right now, we're going to go through. My hope is that we can go through and basically finish up most of section 4 with the exception of the reviews, um, like the supplementary problems, with the exception of the supplementary problems for section 4 and the exception of the section 4 review sheet. I'm hoping that we can, through this week, finish the experimental part of section 4, and then when we get back after winter break, we'll be able to go through and kind of use that time to do the review sheet and the supplementary problems, and kind of put a ribbon on the entire unit. Then we'll have a few days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, to kind of get comfortable with stuff, and then the Thursday, Friday we get back, we'll have the the test on that stuff then. So, uh, thoughts on that? Do you guys have any strong emotions, opposition? Nothing. Okay, I'm good with that. And then what I'm shooting for today, I want us to go through and try to do some of these checkpoint questions live. I think that's one of the things that uh, isn't working so great right now. I think the checkpoints, being that Google meeting setup, isn't going so well. So what I'm hoping we can do is go through and do these. I found a way where I can, using Google Slides, or I can have you uh, submit responses anonymously, responses, questions or answers anonymously using Google Slides. So I'm hoping we can kind of do checkpoints that way, so you can answer stuff, and you can answer with your best attempt at an answer. You can answer, I don't know, this doesn't make sense, or whatever. And when you're doing that, then hopefully there's a way to kind of, so we can all see where we're at, and get comfortable with stuff. Let's see. Another thing before we start that, um, I did post in Google Classroom, let's see, uh, a sheet for all of you guys to take a look at, to schedule, or to share. It's a form, actually, for you to share your contact information with the rest of your new group. Remember, we're in these new groups now. So you can share your contact information there, and what times work to meet with your new group. Um, I do want to emphasize those meeting times and being able to chat and share, and either message or video chat with your lab group, so you can kind of discuss these things. And then what I am hoping to do for these checkpoints, um, I think they're working for some people, but I think they're working for very few people. So my preference is to schedule Google meetings now with each small group, to kind of go through and kind of see where we're at. And then we'll use Mondays and Thursdays as our live session, to kind of bring everybody into the same spot. So uh, try to make sure we're kind of on pace. Um, so there's that, I guess. So let's see. These slides are basically the standard checkpoint questions that we would normally ask, not adapted for Google Forms. This is the way the checkpoints typically are. Like, normally, in most years, I would just walk up to a group and I'd ask you this question. And in normal years, it's like, it's me and three people, you and your two lab partners, and uh, it's it's very direct. So in normal years, I would sit down and I'd say, "So Hannah," and Hannah, I'm not asking you this right now, just so you know, just as an example. In most years, I'd sit down with your group and I'd say, "So Hannah, in 3.1a, they call bulb A the indicator bulb. What does bulb A indicate? Why do they call it an indicator bulb?" And Hannah would be able to flip back through her notes. Maybe she knows off the top of her head, and she would say. She could also go back to her lab notes and just respond that way. So it's in the formal lab groups, in the face-to-face stuff. It's not just asking the group. It's going through and asking one person, then asking somebody else the next question, and then asking the third person the next question. And so in the normal years, it's each person is responsible for stating their things out loud. And I think that's that's the best way to make sure that we're staying on top of things. So I'm hoping that doing it this way kind of gets us there. I don't know, that we are able to respond to things and get stuff there. So trying it this way, presenter view. It's once I get this thing rolling, that's when you'll be able to start to ask questions or respond to questions. So I have a couple of buttons to click. Um, and it looks like I'm going to have to start new. So the link that I had there won't work. Copy link. So in Google Classroom, on the stream for Google Classroom, I'm just going to quickly post the link for the Q&A part. So you can, come on. There. So in Google Classroom, I just posted a link, and if you click on that link, slides.app.goo.gol.slash, it's the slide, it's the URL that's in the top of these slideshow at that slideshow here. But I found when I tried typing that into my phone yesterday when I was trying to make this work, that even typing the text in correctly, it wasn't working too well for me. So clicking the link might be better. So when you get there, you can, you should be able to, once you click on that, you should see a spot that allows you to ask a question. And once you ask that question, there's a, or before you hit enter on the bottom left, I think, there's a spot where you can click make anonymous. And then I don't know who's answering what either. So I lose that bit of feeling for um, who's struggling with what, but at least you're able to participate and kind of get your stuff in there. So y'all ready? Yep. So that first one there, bulb A, what does bulb A indicate? I'll let you throw something down. Typer. Yeah, that's a good. Thanks for asking. I appreciate it. Yeah, so I'm not able to change that prompt in the Google Slide thing. So it does say ask a question, but it's the only way I could find for us to have you guys anonymously say anything. So you can use that same thing to answer this question, and if you have a separate additional question, you can also post that there. And then when you're done, I suppose I should say this out loud so y'all know. When you're done, it does show everybody, or as soon as you hit enter, it does show everybody your question. Here, I'll just type something in real quick. This is um, on the very bottom left. It should say ask anonymously, and there's a check mark. So on my phone there is. I didn't try it on a laptop. Oh, Nick is trying to show us, but was it there for you, Nick? Oh, so Nick sent. Okay, okay. So I have a few folks that have submitted. Nick, it looks like you didn't actually check the anonymous box though. Okay, um, it's it's well below the little spot there. So I don't know. All right. Are other folks seeing the check anonymous thingy? Getting a couple of head shakes. You're seeing it now, Alice? Good. Okay. And so looking through the responses that we're getting indicates the flow through the battery because it's connected directly with the battery, stuff like that. Hey, you guys, good deal. All right. So this feels promising. All right. So then we'll click on to the next slide. When you looked at the brightness of 3 bulbs in series, they were probably dim. It asks you if it's possible for a bulb to have current through it, but be too dim for you to see. What'd you put for that one? Excuse me. Okay. So getting a few folks in saying that they think it's probably possible for there to be current to go through, but there still be too dim to see. And that's generally what we have. You could imagine that as we keep on going, if we add bulbs, where did my thing go? That if we add more and more bulbs, if we add a bulb D and a bulb E and a bulb F, every time we add another bulb on the same path, the brightness of each bulb would get additionally dimmer. The brightness of all bulbs would get dimmer with the addition of the bulbs. And eventually we would get to a spot, yeah, where stuff is flowing, but we maybe wouldn't see them. That's a definite truth. Let's see. Now, come on, clicky. Oh, what happened? What happens to the amount of current through the battery as we add more bulbs? As we go from A to B, AB to ABC, what happens to the flow through the battery when we do that? Okay. So then, as we're going through here, the flow that goes through bulb A also goes through this wire, then goes through this wire, and then goes through the battery, right? So if we remember that the flow that we're talking about is actual like things that are moving through here. So we have stuff present everywhere in the wire. If we close the switch, what that does is it allows the battery to motivate the stuff that's present everywhere to flow. So we close the switch, and now the battery can motivate things, and we now have things flowing through this wire. Then they flow through bulb A, then they flow through bulb B, and they go all the way back through the battery, right? Um, so whatever actually does flow through A does then also flow later through B, and then later through C, and then back to the battery. Um, I wanted to address that. Let's see. So at this point, we don't have anything being divided or split up or anything like that, right? Whatever flows through one section also flows through all other sections. If we only have one path, whatever flows through absolutely everything. There's nothing getting divided out anywhere. And when we talk about adding batteries, what happens to the brightness of bulb A as we add bulbs B and BC? Does the brightness increase or decrease? Up or down? Down. Yeah. So if the brightness is going down as we add more bulbs in series or more bulbs on the same path, if the brightness goes down, then we know the flow is going down, right? So that's the sort of stuff that we're looking at. Um, and so our evidence, sorry, how do you know that? The brightness of the bulbs is decreasing as we add more bulbs on the same path. Um, okay, and then we start to talk about total resistance here. So when we look at this, as we add these bulbs, the brightness goes down, the flow goes down. The other thing that we'll start to talk about is that as we add these bulbs, every time we add a bulb on the same path, we're increasing the resistance. So if the resistance goes up and the flow goes down, then that's kind of the relationship we're looking at here. I'm not going to ask you to type this one in because we have a bunch of stuff to get through and go. So we already kind of did that. Total resistance. Okay, in 33B. Okay, so do you have your books handy, 33B? Yay or nay? Hopefully. Um, let's see. We'll see if I can open it too. And well, shoot, if I open it there, it's not going to show you. I kind of have to open it here. That's the review. Sorry, we'll get there. Mhm. There, 3-3B. Come on. Oh, Lordy. I think that's it right there. Yeah. Yeah. 3-3B. So we're looking at this. So when we added bulb B, we've already kind of discussed that stuff. When we added bulb B, A's brightness should go down. And that means that the flow through the battery goes down. And if the flow through the battery goes down, then that means that the total resistance went up. Are y'all with me there? That was a bunch of stuff. So just looking at the first part of 3-3B, or 3-3, I guess A, looking at this part, come on, I clicked the thing, there we go. Oh, Lordy. So looking at this, if we just have A and then we add B, when we add B, A gets dimmer. And if A gets dimmer, that means the flow has decreased as we do that. So adding bulb B increases resistance and decreases the flow through the battery. Yeah. Okay. And now onto this one. So when we go and we add bulb C, that's where we get to this question. When we add bulb C, what did you predict? And is that what happened? So maybe state in your answer to this one or in your thing, write down what you predicted and what happened to the brightness of A. I'll try to go back and forth so you can see the circuit set up again because some of you might not have easy access. So when we added bulb C, what happened to the brightness of A? And this is the circuit that we're talking about. And we added bulb C in the bottom right. So when we added bulb C, what happened to the brightness of A? What did we predict and what actually happened? So type your stuff in there and you can throw that through. Okay. All right. And so we're getting a variety of responses in there. And the thing that is usually surprising, this is usually a surprise to everybody. Um, I don't know that we've ever had, it's probably happened, but I can't remember it happening where somebody got this prediction correct. So that's one of the reasons that we go through when we do the predictions is to make sure that we're paying attention and that things kind of snap to. So the truth is that when we add, oop, wrong one, that when we add this bulb C, the truth is what happens is bulb A gets brighter, right? Which is usually surprising. And if bulb A gets brighter, what must have happened to the flow through the battery, up or down? If A gets brighter, the flow through the battery should have increased or decreased. Okay, increased. A couple of folks are pointing up. Thanks for the couple of folks. The rest of you slacker ne'er-do-wells, I'll tell you. So if A gets brighter, then that means the flow through the battery must have increased. And if the flow through the battery increased, then what happened to the total resistance of the circuit? Up or down? The flow through the battery increased, so the total resistance must have, getting a couple downs, yeah? And so this is surprising, right? We added a bulb, but adding a bulb on its own little path over here, adding a bulb on its own path decreased the total resistance of the circuit and increased the flow through the battery. So this is hopefully shocking enough or surprising enough to kind of stick that, hey, adding something on its own path is different from adding something on the same path as everything else. That's really what we're shooting for. That's a big deal. So we've kind of gone through there. We've got this. This next spot is a bit of a check to kind of see how we can go through and take a look at those things. So we've already ended up using up the half hour of time there. So we've definitely have a bunch more stuff to go through for section 3. I'm hoping that you and your lab group can schedule an appointment to uh, come on, can schedule an appointment to set up a meeting so we can go through and do more checkpoint stuff in a smaller group, just me and you and your lab partners. If we do that, then, oops, no, I shouldn't do that with this. If we do that, then we can uh, maybe use the slides again so you can ask stuff, or if you guys are comfortable, maybe we can just discuss things as we're going. But I think this will kind of help make sure things stick, and it'll make our quizzes and tests a bit more smooth. Do you guys have any questions or comments or things you'd like to discuss or things that aren't clear? Okay. And so what we're shooting for today, just to make sure we're all on the same page, we're with the rest of today, we've kind of gone through and done some of the checkpoints, 3-1 to 3-3. With the rest of today, we should have a solid 60 additional minutes to go through and work on this, hoping that you and your group finish the form to share contact information and what times you can meet. Also hoping that if you haven't yet finished the labs in electric circuit section 3, I'm hoping you guys do finish that today and maybe schedule a checkpoint with me for a separate one of these Google Meets so we can go through and check things out. Um, and if you get all of that stuff done, then you can start to work on the electric circuit section 3 supplementary problems. I don't remember if I posted those last week or not. I'll go through and double check. All right, that's a lot of stuff. Does that make sense? Is that too much crap that I just said? Are you okay? All right. Um, so that's that, I guess. Have a good one, folks. Hey, you too, Nicholas. Hey, Nolan, is the stuff showing up on the calendar now? Shout out, Nolan. Is it showing up on the calendar now? Good. Hey, thanks for mentioning that. If you wouldn't have said that, I thought that the way I was doing it, I thought it was showing up on the calendar. So I really do appreciate you mentioning something because I thought it was there. So thanks, man. Have a good day.